As a disclaimer, I would like to say that as a mental health professional, I recognize that for some people, taking medications like melatonin, trazodone, or other hypnotics like Ambien to fall asleep is a part of their overall treatment plan. The intention behind this video is not to stigmatize taking medication or make those who need them feel weak for doing so. Consult with your psychiatrist if you want to reduce your reliance on medication. Remember, the ultimate goal of most psychiatric medication is to reduce symptoms to the point that you can participate in therapy effectively and learn healthy cognitive and behavioral coping skills that make up for your medication as you come off it. There are very few psychiatric medications that you were intended to be on forever. Otherwise, these tips are for people who rely on other, less healthy alternatives to getting to sleep. In the end, medication is not a weakness, but it is a strength, especially when it comes to achieving overall symptom relief and maximally effective psychotherapy. Sleep, dreams, and mental health. How exactly are they related? We all intuitively know and agree that our sleep affects our mental health, but pretty much all of us choose to ignore this relationship and have chosen to sleep when we're dead. But as a psychotherapist, it's my job to help my patients understand the importance of good quality sleep because, in my opinion, you can literally change your life by changing how you sleep. We assess for sleep during mental health evaluations not only to get an idea of whether or not our patients may have insomnia or bipolar disorder or PTSD, but because sleep is probably the single most important aspect of healthy psychological functioning. There's a reason that dreaming and dream interpretation were fundamental psychotherapeutic interventions throughout history, because how we sleep, the quality, the length, and what happens to us before, during, and after we close our eyes impacts our overall mental health tremendously. Let's start with a simple, inescapable fact. Quality of sleep determines quality of mental health. This isn't even a point worth arguing. Thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of research articles support this statement. Any arguments or beliefs against it are simply delusional and wrong. If a person sleeps less than 4 hours per night and is not affected by this quantitative lack of sleep, they're likely hypomanic. If a person tells me that they can function off of less than 5 hours of sleep a night, I say to them, well, people who abuse alcohol can function pretty well most of the time too. That doesn't do wonders for their mental health, though. So, here's a few tips I've learned from personal experience. Take your sleep seriously. In fact, take it more seriously than anything else in your treatment plan. Improving your quality of sleep will improve your mental health. How can you improve your quality of sleep? Stop using substances before bed, or to go to bed. If you drink alcohol to put yourself to sleep, you need to stop drinking. You won't improve your sleep until you get sober from alcohol. Yes, I said it. Sober from alcohol. The same goes for cannabis. If you smoke cannabis to unwind or enjoy yourself during the day, there's nothing wrong with that. Cannabis use even a few hours before bed can promote better sleep, as it makes you sleepy. But cannabis before bed, to put yourself to sleep, or smoking after waking up and trying to go back to sleep is only damaging your body's ability to fall asleep naturally. Smoking and alcohol both affect REM sleep and affect the production of dreams. I ask all of my patients during intake assessments if they have dreams or nightmares. If a person tells me that they do not dream, which is something I hear rather frequently, I can usually assume with a fair bit of accuracy that they likely use substances more than they probably should. I'm not making moral judgments, by the way. I used to smoke and drink way more than I care to admit. I'm simply judging based on what I know as a human and a clinician. So, here's the deal. Virtually any sleep aid, whether it's an over-the-counter melatonin gummy, Benadryl, cannabis edibles, or any other holistic way of drugging yourself to sleep, other than maybe drinking herbal tea, is going to negatively affect your body's ability to fall asleep naturally. If you want to improve your focus, concentration, and clear up your early morning brain fog, you need better sleep. Not coffee, not Red Bull, sleep. That goes for all caffeine before bed. Stop doing that. Okay, so how do you get better sleep if mind-altering substances aren't what's holding you back? CBTI, or Cognitive Behavioral Therapy for Insomnia, tells us that the bed is for sex and sleep. That's it. If you're not having sex or sleeping, you should not be in bed. Do not read books in bed. Do not watch TV in bed. And don't eat in bed. In fact, anything that can be done somewhere else should be done somewhere else. Pay bills at the kitchen table. Read books out in the living room. And if you have a television in your room, you need to turn it off before you attempt to fall asleep. I know there's plenty of people out there who can't sleep without the TV on. That's a big problem. The TV being on, even if it's at a low volume, is inadvertently affecting your quality of sleep due to the light and the sound that it emits. It's not a matter of being able to sleep with the TV on. If you want to improve your overall quality of sleep, you need to learn how to sleep with the TV off. When I go to sleep, I shut off every electronic that I have except for my phone and my fan, and I put my phone on the opposite end of the bed so I can still hear the alarm, but I'm not tempted to constantly check my phone throughout the night. Screens before bed is an absolute no-no if you want to improve your quality of sleep. Lastly, and this should be pretty obvious, but I don't think it is, go to sleep at a regular time that allows you between 6 and 8 hours of sleep if possible. If you can start winding down before bed about an hour before you need to fall asleep for an optimal night's sleep, then hopefully you can manage to get yourself to bed around 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. at the latest. I have lofty ambitions of being in bed by 10:30 most days. Sometimes this works, most of the time it doesn't, but I stick to the general time frame. I will not allow myself to stay up playing video games or watching YouTube past 11 p.m. on nights that I know I have to work in the morning. It's always a bad idea. If you work an opposite schedule, like a midnight job or work an afternoon shift, then you have to adjust your sleep schedule accordingly. And if you do work a midnight job and you have to sleep during the day when the sun is up, you absolutely need blackout curtains because your body will not sleep while the sun is up for more than a few hours at a time. We're simply not wired to sleep during the day. So, to sum up these tips succinctly, to improve your sleep, you will need to 1. Refrain from using substances before bed or to fall asleep. 2. Do not use the bed for anything other than sex and sleep. Do not confuse your brain into thinking that the bed is a good place to become distracted. To fall asleep, you need less distractions, not more. And 3. Give yourself a 5 to 8 hour window for optimal sleep. Wind down for sleep about 1 to 2 hours before you want to go to bed. Learn to sleep with the TV off, and if you use your phone for an alarm, you need to make sure that it is physically out of reach during the night. These tips sound easy, but trust me, I know how hard these tips actually are in practice. For years, I slept terribly because I abused alcohol and other substances, tried to fall asleep in the same place where I laid for hours watching YouTube and playing video games, and stayed up way later than I should have because my schedule was so busy that I felt like I never had time to do anything else except go to work and go to school. It was true, I didn't have time for anything else. But that wasn't a good excuse for me to go to bed at 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. when I had to be up for work at 6:30 a.m. A lot of those nights, I never actually got to sleep because either my intoxication wore off and woke me up, or if, on the rare occasion, I didn't smoke or drink before I went to bed, I went to bed late thinking that I would be able to fall asleep naturally, and I couldn't because my body became dependent on drugs to get me to sleep. Those nights, I would lie awake in bed with anxiety about not being able to sleep and dreading the inevitable feeling of being tired the next day. Classic ruminations of insomniacs, but mine were made worse by alcohol dependence. I'll be 100% honest. Over the last 10 months of sobriety, I've slept better than I have in the last 15 years. This isn't supposed to be a video about sobriety, but it is an important part of my personal journey. It may not be for everyone, and I understand that, but I want to share what's been helpful to me. To wrap up the episode, I want to come back to the importance of dreams and the indication of healthy sleep. To the people who don't dream, Ask yourself, why not? Science tells us that everyone dreams. I mean, you would have to be a complete anomaly of the human race to not have dreams. Yet, I hear it from half my patients that they don't dream. I simply don't believe it. Forgetting that you dream is different from not having them. I forget my dreams all the time, but my dream journal is a testament to my ability to dream and the importance of the symbols and themes that have been expressed in my dreams and dream images. This long abandoned aspect of psychotherapy is contingent on your body's ability to be able to sleep naturally. If the dream is the gateway to the unconscious, then the ability to fall asleep is your key to accessing that gateway. It's the most important factor in our mental health. We spend 1/3 of our lives asleep, and I can guarantee, just like I guarantee all of my patients, that if you improve your sleep, you will improve your mental health. And the last thing you can ever expect from mental health treatment is a guarantee. Until next time, thank you.